Frustrating night for the Whitecaps, but it was pretty cool seeing the crowd there in Cartago, Costa Rica. They were right into this game, and very cool that a lot of the fans were also coming out tonight to see Thomas Muller play.
Yeah,
like
signs,
yeah,
everything.
I mean, the Whitecaps with this man right here, and by virtue of what they did last year, I mean, they were an attraction down there in Costa Rica, and the fans had a great time. Just the Whitecaps didn't in the attacking third. I thought elsewhere across the field, it was a pretty dominant performance, but some work to be done just in terms of their attacking play. It's a goalless draw in the first leg. They'll be pretty comfortable with that going back home to BC Place next week. Gareth Wheeler, Jordan Wilson with you. Is that your feel? Like, how will Jesper Sorensen be feeling about his team coming into this one?
I think he'll say that Cartaginés was like defensively sound. They were organized, but they just couldn't crack the code today. They couldn't get that goal. But in terms of intensity, the way they went about their business today, they were offensive Vancouver Whitecaps. They just weren't clinical. There wasn't that chance that they were waiting for. And I felt like Wheels, a game like tonight, if they scored one, they would probably score two or three. Yeah. But they just couldn't break that ice. I think that man there, though, isn't really too worried, because if his team could play like that at BC Place against Cartaginés next week, they will probably be the victors, right? You can maybe be conscientious of the counterattack, but I know with one goal with this Whitecap side, they'll probably score two or three next week.
I just think that he'll be keeping the long view in mind, and I think that he understands that this year's Whitecaps team is different just from last year.
Yeah.
And he even mentioned it when we spoke to him earlier this week. You know, the Whitecaps were fortunate at times over the course of that run. As electric and as well as they played, especially considering how depleted they were at times, they were fortunate. You just don't want to ride your luck all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that he would expect a team on a night like this to be able to finish the job. There were far too many shots from distance. Like legitimate goal-scoring opportunity, one or two on the night. They only had a 1.16 expected goals. And for how much possession they had and how they pressed well and were on the ball, I just would think that the bar has been raised, and he would have expected more just in terms of the final product.
Yeah, probably he's disappointed. I think these matches as a footballer, ask anyone, it's very hard to break down a team that's expecting you to attack.
The first game, I get it.
First game, middle of February, it's difficult. When you look at the pass percentage as well and how much they dominated, I don't think there was a point tonight that Vancouver Whitecaps were tentative, that they played slow. I just felt like they ran out of real estate, right? And they just didn't have that clinical touch. You hope that next week they do, but it's tough. I don't think Jesper Sorensen is going to be really disappointed with the side. It wasn't like there was a glaring chance that they missed or they weren't prepared. I just think sometimes when you start a match like this in this type of tournament, you have a 0-0 match and you don't score a goal.
We sometimes don't see them on the ball that much, but just in terms of the overall play, something that was a little bit different to me, which will take some adjustment, is maybe losing a little bit of width.
Good point.
With no Ali Ahmed, Jaden Nelson provides some pace and width to go down the side. I thought that Cabrera played well. You know, Jackson showed a little bit of something, a little bit inconsistent. Sabi only played 45. But Cabrera's coming inside all the time. Yeah. I know that Ahmed tended to, but he would start from a little bit of a wider area. I just think that the Whitecaps were a little bit too narrow, which led to the ball coming out on top of the box for Berhalter or Badwall, who's probably a player that you're probably a little bit more comfortable playing a little bit deeper. The ball was falling outside the 18, where players were forced to take a shot rather than having that width in order to come around and whip it around and really provide a threat in wide areas.
I couldn't agree with you more, Wheels. I love that observation, and I think that with this Vancouver Whitecaps side, what Ali Ahmed did better than most was get around his defender. Yeah, sometimes there was crosses, and you look at tonight, there was interplay, but that just 1v1 saying, I'm going to get the better of you and make it a 2v1 situation going to the box, there needs to be more of that from Cabrera, from Sabi, just from the interplay. You saw how they changed up things a little bit, Vancouver Whitecaps, with Ocampo coming inside and kind of over flooding that midfield a little bit. But I totally agree. When you're in those wide positions and you have the width, you have to make sure that you beat your defender. And maybe the Whitecaps just didn't do enough of that today.
Over 4 times the completed passes the Vancouver Whitecaps had in terms of completed passes than their opponent here tonight. It's just in a lot of those chances that they did end up having came off set pieces.
Yeah.
There needs to be more in open play, and I think that's where there's going to be some adjustment with the width or lack thereof in this Whitecaps team. Let's hear from Sebastian Berhalter after this one tonight. Another solid performance by the central midfielder for the Whitecaps. Here's what he had to say about the goalless draw.
This end on the game leaves the options open to return a game in Vancouver.
Yeah, you want to get an away goal, but credit to them, they did well, and we weren't clinical enough to finish it off. So they did a good job, and now we got to go finish it at home.
So what do you think? The game is going to back in Vancouver now.
Yeah, it'd be good. It'd be in front of our fans, and we like playing at home, so I think we got a good chance.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Short and sweet, to the point. Back at home at BC Place over the course of the weekend. Your Volkswagen moment of the match, I mean, this was probably their best chance of scoring. It would have been audacious. It was a really good effort in the end by Emmanuel Sabi. Plays it up to himself, bicycle kick. He beats the goalkeeper, but not Diego Messin. You know what I said? He wasn't messing around back there, Diego.
That's a great
clears it
clearance.
off the line.
But it's acrobatic from Sabi as well. He's unlucky, right? Like, this is going in the back of the net if your boy Diego doesn't clear that off the line. And look at him, stone cold. That's some brave defending.
Wasn't making a mess of that one.
Why am I
right
still
there.
laughing?
It's so bad it's good. That's why. But that was a real nice effort by Sabi, the best chance of the game.
Yeah.
Walmart delivery of the match. I mean, take your pick. What set piece
Yeah.
you want to choose? They're kind of the better deliveries all night. That came around. Berhalter, I like the way he strikes them hard with purpose. Took a little bit of deflection, but caught Laborda in the knees. I thought Laborda was really good on the night as well.
Yeah, he was. He looks very good in that center back position. Like, obviously, he can play at the right back, left back, but I think that partnership could be one that we see a lot more as well based on injury, those two partnering. But they look really good. They're both ball-playing center backs and want to get forward. But that deflection, you're so right, Wheels. I think it just caught him off guard. And that cross that's whipped in, it's so fast that he just didn't know how to react.
I think Laborda had like 5 goals last season. He's able to chip it. And Blackman, too. Yeah. And if that's the way that games are going to play out, they need Blackman, Laborda, players like this. I just wonder if Laborda is going to be maybe better suited playing on the left-hand side. If you need a little depth, you bring Ocampo higher and just push him up the field and kind of...
Talking about your width again.
Kind of rotate. Yeah, so Laborda, with Atakubi still on the road to recovery, that might be the way to do it. All-State save of the match, it came early. There's a theme here. A lot of Berhalter involved in the highlights. It was the first shot on target of the match from distance. There were 5 saves that he made, but nothing that Takaoka had to save.
No,
in the game.
and there aren't many that rip them as clean as Berhalter does from 30 yards, right? Like, the keeper just did enough to be like, you know what, I'm not even trying to catch this. Like, I just need to parry that wide. But when he really puts his head down and strikes through it, he hits that ball cleanly.
Let's list a bunch of the players that we thought played well. I thought that Badwell played well.
Tate Johnson.
Not bad. Tate
did well.
Kubas.
Badwell looked really good, though. Let's not just skip past him.
Yeah.
Like, I was skipping past him.
I just don't think he's a 10.
No,
in a game like this.
But Jesper Sørensen was talking about how well he looked in preseason, right? And how many times last season did he talk about a player like Ahmed or Berhalter that came in fit, that came in sharp, that looked good? I like what Badwell did, because sometimes you're not going to always play that deep-lying playmaker. You're going to be playing the 10.
I think this summer's World Cup comes a little bit too soon for him, but 2030, I kind of see where he's going.
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a slow burn with the player, but I kind of see the trajectory
He's in
there.
the right spot, right? You want to be playing for the Whitecaps under Jesper Sørensen and getting some burn and getting into the mix.
None of those players were the Gatorade performer of the match. I'll give you a guess.
They just played well.
Sebastian Berhalter!
Get this for Techers, the kids at home. That's a clean strike. Just a little bit outside the foot. It's swerving away. But yeah, his delivery was sublime. His energy was good. Work rate, the way you're switching balls from left to right. Look, we can go on and on about Berhalter, but for me, just he's back. Clean performance. He looked the part. And it was just unlucky for his team not to get on the board.
They were swarming in the midfield. Like, I'm thinking across Major League Soccer, like, would you rather have, a double pivot in midfield rather than Berhalter and Kubas? I don't think so.
Pretty good.
I don't think
They complement each other
so.
well as well.
Yeah.
They really do. Like, Berhalter goes forward a little bit more. Kubas kind of stays, but they're so clever with how they get on the ball, their one-touch interplay, and the way they look to go and play forward. I really like the duo.
They're back at it at BC Place next week. Let's take a look at your full-time statistics. 75 that time. I mean, 10 corners. It seemed like a lot more.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But honestly, to Cartaginés, like, we have to give them credit. Sometimes you have to suffer tonight, but they did.
They did.
And you know what? Their fans were incredible, but they really relished the moment, playing at altitude, playing at home. Let's see what they bring next week, though. But you got to give them credit for the way they stood in this match.
Yeah. It's funny because we watch, UEFA Champions League, where the away goals don't matter. They still matter in this competition. Hence why Berhalter wanted to come away with an away goal. 1.16 expected goals for the Whitecaps, 0.24 expected goals for Cartaginés. Muller came on the field. There were some fans there with Bayern Munich German gear. Special night. They got to see Muller on the field, but he's really warming up in what he hopes to be a big 2026. It's a Concacaf Champions Cup here on One Soccer.
Mia San Mia, a lived claim.
This is what champions look like.
Number one, not number two. If I'm not the one, I'm uncomfortable. See the competition I've been running through. Leveled up, I only see him in my range.
The toughest task is to surpass yourself, and they will.
Frankfurt get the breakthrough.
Tapping in, I'm passionate. This is what passion is. Switch.
Bayern versus Frankfurt.
Well, guys, no school.
Snow day! Yes!
Come on,
Otherwise known as a WeatherTech Day.
let's go.
So when the weather turns bad, you can still find a way to enjoy it. With WeatherTech's laser-measured cargo liners, seat protectors, and floor liners. Order yours today at weathertech.ca. The ultimate protection for your vehicle.
Might be the luckiest shot I've ever seen. Hey, Mom. Chips. Whoa! Oh, thanks, Mom.
Boys got you again?
Mm-hmm.
For generations, we've put more goodness in so you get a whole lot more out of every single delicious egg. A lot goes into a little at Burnbrae Farms.
Think it can't get any better? We think you should have more. More confidence. More space. More style. And who doesn't want more fun? We all deserve more. That's why there's an SUVW for everyone. Taos, Tiguan, Atlas, Crossport, and the all-electric ID4.
I see you looking.
Can you believe it? It's opening weekend in Major League Soccer.
We're back.
I feel like there hasn't been like a ton of buzz.
No.
Like league-wide. But, I mean, we're heading into a World Cup. This is a big year for the league. Big year for these Canadian teams as well. Montreal, TFC to get back on track. And the Whitecaps look to better what they did last season. I think that has to be the goal. Gareth Wheeler, Jordan Wilson with you in our One Soccer studio. That has to be the goal for the Whitecaps. They won the TELUS Canadian Championship. They're going to go to make it 5 in a row.
A fiver.
Wow.
5-piece.
And on top of that, finalists for MLS Cup, no Supporter Shield. Finalists for Concacaf Champions Cup, no trophy there. I think that they need to add a second trophy somewhere, whether it's a Shield, whether it's a Cup.
That's expectation.
Do you think it can happen? Like, what are your expectations of the Whitecaps heading into the season?
I think when I look at this side, I'm going to say that they're intact. I know there's been a lot of movement. Ali Ahmed obviously being probably the biggest one that's left, and there's still injuries with Adekube and certain players within the squad. But they're intact. One straight down the spine. Like, you look at the pregame that we just did a few hours ago, talks about Brian White, Burr Halter, which also has Kubas playing with him in the midfield, and a Blackman. And you have Takaoka as well. You look at their spine, it's intact. You look at their wingers or their fullbacks, that's also intact. And you're getting a little bit of health in players that are coming back into form. I like their chances, but the MLS season is just long, it's arduous, there's a lot of travel, and you're adding Concacaf Champions Cup as well. But I don't see how this team can't do as well as they did last year, if not better, Rios.
Other than the fact they might be playing games away from BC Place. It's going to be a difficult trek with the commitments to the World Cup at BC Place. The off-field noise, it's a real thing.
Hard to ignore.
It's a reality. But when I look at this team on paper, a full season of Thomas Muller, as much as I like Ali Ahmed, I think this team has the potential to be even better.
Wow.
And the only problem is,
talk to me.
There's two other teams, their squads, they might actually have more talent than this Whitecaps team.
LA?
And one is LAFC, who put on a show last night here in the Concacaf Champions Cup.
See this pass from Eustachio?
But Buenga, I think he drew 2 penalties last night.
This guy, he's a man possessed. He's been that for years.
By the way, the Canadian contingent with LAFC, with Mark Dos Santos now as the manager, I mean, it goes deep just in terms of the Canadian content on that team. I think they're really good. And, of course, the champions in Inter Miami. It's just if the Whitecaps have enough juice, despite everything else that's going to be thrown their way. Look, I rate Sorensen incredibly high, but I think this team is going to have to adjust, not only in terms of what's happening off the field, but on field as well. It's just a different team than it was last year.
I said intact, but I also want to know what they're like in a big game performance, right? I think, obviously, you look at 2 finals and you don't lift silverware in those 2 big finals, we'll say, but this finals nonetheless where you don't win. How are they going to adjust in big moments this season? That's the next step. That's the evolution of this team. But I like them on paper. I trust Jesper Sørensen. I love that, you know, the turtleneck jokes are still running through and that you'll be wearing those as well underneath your suit. Yeah. Like, I love all the things that's going on with Whitecaps.
Everyone makes predictions at the start of the season. And look, the fine people at MLS, they were getting ripped because of their predictions for the Whitecaps last year. Which seemed they were disrespectful, but it's difficult to predict. Like, honestly, it's a little bit of a guessing game because form matters. Injuries absolutely matters.
And to be fair, people didn't know about Jesper Sørensen.
Exactly.
They didn't know.
No, I don't think that we knew that he would have such a positive influence as he did, as quickly he did. Yeah. We also didn't know how they were going to be decimated by injuries, which made their 2 runs last year, or 3 runs, that much more improbable. And they start this season with a number of players still on the sidelines. Poor Sam Adekubi. By the way, just got engaged. Congratulations to Sam.
Congrats, Sam.
But on the field, it's been a nightmare injury-wise. I feel for the guy because he's one of the good guys in the game and a really good player as well.
Yeah, and it's just...
Veselinovic, stud.
Yeah.
Coming back in April. Ryan Gauld, you hope, is coming back in April. I'm a little bit worried there.
Yeah.
True difference maker when fit. And Bilal Hobouni, provided some really quality minutes down the stretch last season. Just hope that these guys get back as soon as possible, and you keep your fingers crossed that the rest of your group can be intact. But I look at this team, even the players coming off the bench here tonight, they seem like they could be a little bit more deep. And I think they were a deep team last year, just depth in terms of quality of player.
Yeah, I think
that Sørensen can turn to.
Totally agree. I think the new players on the bench, those are the guys that have to emerge and have a breakout year like certain players had last year, like a Tate Johnson. They have to be new players that step up and do well for the side. But the biggest thing, look at the 3 out of the 4 of the players that you just mentioned or we showed on that board there. Defenders, right? 2 center backs. You're looking at a left back. Adekubi changes the whole complexion of this team when he's healthy by the way that he can play that position. And then you can tinker with Tate Johnson not starting some matches and where he plays. But the big man is the magic man, Ryan Gauld, right? You need him by the time it starts to get warm all around the league, that he's playing his best football. This team is just a different type of animal and beast. If you can tinker with Muller, White, Gauld, you start adding the pieces, you can leave Sabby wide, then you're looking at a front 4 that is just lethal going forward.
Well, Ralph Priso didn't come on the field here tonight. We'll see if he plays for the weekend, but another player who can add to that group. Sean Lau, also another player at the back. There is a depth of player. It's too bad that Jodrick Pupe didn't work out. I told you at the time it couldn't be a you-know-what signing. Turned out to be last year.
Yeah, first of all, no.
I thought tonight's show was great.
You've been on flames tonight. 11 out of 10 from you. You've been having me knee slapping and cackling the whole night,
It's
man.
just different rivers.
My guy.
Life keeps on moving. We'll be back next week. 2 games in the Concacaf Champions Cup. Atletico Ottawa takes their show to Nashville, Music City.
We're going.
If they win, could it be called the Music City Miracle? Or is that being locked down by the Tennessee Titans? And then next week at BC Place, Muller and company are back at home as the return leg. No goals here tonight. a lot of positive play and something to build off of. On behalf of the one, the only Jordan Wilson, and everyone here at One Soccer, I am Gareth Wheeler. Good night from our One Soccer studio.